Welcome to the Veterans in Politics Talk Show. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, live stream on Facebook.
Welcome to the Joint Veterans Endorsement interviews for non-judicial candidates. On the outset, I'd like to formally recognize and thank our sponsoring organizations for making today's event possible. Judge Mary Perry, Clark County District Court, Family Division Department P. Christine Brewer, Clark County District Court, Family Division Department S. Judge Chris Cannon, North Las Vegas Municipal Court Judge, Department 1. And Judge Noreen DeMonte, Clark County District Court, Department 28. Would also like to extend our sincere appreciation to our additional sponsors and community partners whose support helps ensure a professional, fair, and transparent endorsement process. We're honored to have you all with us today. Before we get into today's interview, I'd like to just go over the rules and the format. First, each panel member will introduce themselves by stating the name and the organization that they're representing today. Next, you'll be given an opportunity to introduce yourself, and then please explain why you are seeking, in your case, re-election for the position that you're rerunning for. And then we will start the interview portion. Each candidate will then, again, before they ask a question, state the organization that they're representing and ask their question. You will be given 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer each question. When you have 30 seconds left, you'll be shown a yellow card by this gentleman here. And then when your time is up, you'll be shown a blue card. When you see the blue card, please finish your statement, and we will conclude at that point. We can move on to the next question. After we've completed the interview portion, you'll be given 1 minute to give a closing remark. With that said, we'll start with Gary.
Good morning, Gary Whitemouth for Point Marine Association. Today I am representing the Veterans in Politics.
Tim Ross, Nevada Veterans Association.
Patrick McRae, Nevada Veterans Association.
Martin Walker, Nevada Veterans Association. And please use the mic to you.
Well, I'm CARRIE Cox. I'm your current councilwoman, and for Ward 3 in Henderson. I'm a mother of 7, grandmother of almost 12. I will have, on May 15th, I will have 12 grandchildren. I have been an educator for over 30 years and a business owner. I've been in this community for a very long time serving, because I feel that service is the most important thing you can do. As my husband was Air Force, my father served in the Navy, my father-in-law was Marines, and I have a host of uncles that have served. And so it was example to me. And that's just a little bit about me. But why I'm rerunning, or why I'm running for re-election, is because I feel there's still a lot to be done. And I was able to fulfill all of the promises that I made in my last campaign, and I'm going to continue to work hard for my constituents, for veterans, for seniors, for homeless, for all those vulnerable populations that are so important to me. But most important, I really feel that the residents' businesses are just critical in, and public safety are critical in moving forward and taking care of people.
Ms. Cox, this is very near and dear to my heart. I've been here a relative short time in Henderson, and I've seen the valley, not just Henderson, grow in leaps and bounds. Transportation methods have not kept up. We try to expand highways. Doesn't work very long. By the time it gets built, it's already obsolete. We have a busway being built down Boulder Highway, which I think is completely inadequate. I'm pushing for a light rail system to be built in the valley that will service everyone from North Las Vegas to Summerlin to Henderson to Las Vegas proper to Boulder City. It would be relatively easy to build if other people only had the vision to see it through. What are your thoughts on our transportation issue? Because with the complete advent of new residents in Henderson in particular, nobody's going to be able to get around. How do we alleviate that? And what are your thoughts on a light rail system?
Well, we really need transportation for all, correct? And we, as you said, we have the 215 widening project going on. I hope that does alleviate, at least for a little while, some of the congestion along there. The Boulder Highway project that you addressed, the bus going down the middle of the road is, I'm not sure that I'm not 100% okay with that. There's lots of reasons. Now we have people that are going to cross from both sides instead of one side. So I think you put more people in jeopardy. But as far as the transportation, we really have to look at that's only increasing a 1% ridership by doing that. And I think there are better ways. So a light rail system, in my opinion, it's always been something that I've been interested in. And I first heard about that about 10 years ago. And I was always told it will never happen. And so to your point, the vision has to change. We need to make sure that we are really pushing and working on that, because sometimes it only takes one person to keep that motivation going. You are that one person. I'm willing to stand with you on that, on light rail. I think it's critical we connect everyone and have transportation for all.
Tim Ross, Nevada Veterans Association. You've been a strong advocate for creating a separate Henderson school district. Given your background in education, what are the specific financial and administrative hurdles you believe the city has to overcome to make that a reality?
Well, I think the hurdles are more than just what you mentioned. I think the hurdles are trying to get leadership, especially and lobbyists, to understand that we need to opt out. That's been the fight. Like, we can't even get to the details, because the pushback is, we don't want that. I've been working on trying to have Henderson have its own school district for over 25 years. As an educator, why I see that's important is that the district isn't bad, it's just too big. And if you look at New York and Educate New York, you'll see they've taught us how that's going to work. If we only look at what they've done. And there's other states that we can look at as how they have taken care of their children. And our students are most important. Our families are most important. And they deserve better. We can do better. We have, as you know, we've done the charter school. We're a charter school authorizer. We're starting the movement that way to be able to have our own schools. Kesher Academy is our first one, and I think that it's important to provide options. I think parents and students need options, and that will help hopefully get us to where we can go ahead and opt out.
Little follow-up question. Do you think breaking that up and making its own district will greatly improve the quality of education for Henderson? I
do, because Henderson schools already do a great job. Think about a classroom teacher such as myself. I'm now retired out of the classroom, but I will tell you, they're working hard. This isn't a teacher issue. It really isn't. And it is not, at this point, I'm not even sure it's a money issue. I think it's making sure that we're taking care of our kids and watching our budgets and looking at what's most important. We do need to pay teachers what they're worth. And so far, I just still see some issues with that. So in order to make this work for Henderson, I think we need to continue to do great. We have a lot of 5-star schools. Charter schools are 5-star schools. And so we need to continue to push down that road to make sure that we can be prepared for that. But I think Henderson would be great on its own.
Councilwoman Cox, Patrick McCray, Nevada Veterans Association. You've been on the board for 4 years now, so you must be familiar with the budget. So this is kind of a two-part question. One, what is the approximate budget of the city of Henderson? And what do you see as its number one difficulty with the budget, and how would you fix it or make it better?
Well, one of the things that is said about the budget is that 60% of our budget goes to public safety. And I hear a lot about how that's a problem. But what I have a problem with is that it's not a problem. We need public safety, and we need to be able to be paying our police and our firefighters what they deserve and what they're worth. And so if we don't get our budget issues, we're at a deficit right now. The last time it was at 11 million. I have just asked and requested for a briefing so that I can get all of the information. But if we don't start looking at some of the ways that we can cut, and we're at budget neutral right now in all our departments, but there's got to be other ways that we can bring in dedicated funding for police, fire, and other. We need some dedicated funding on that, in my opinion. That's how we're going to fix it.
How big is the budget of the city of Henderson, approximately?
To get you a number, I'm going to have to look at the final that just came in, but it's millions of dollars. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good morning. Martin Walker, Nevada Veterans Association. So Henderson is currently asking voters to support a 30-year extension of the Parks and Recs tax override at 12 cents per $100 valuation. Critics argue that the Henderson's massive population growth and existing tax base, there shouldn't be a need for the special override to continue to fund the basic maintenance. Can you explain maybe your thoughts on this extension? Maybe could there be a shorter time period? And what's the impact if voters don't support this extension?
Okay, so this tax, it's important to understand we're already paying it. So this tax is not going to increase, and it's not going to decrease depending on how it ends up. If it is voted against, then what happens is our money goes back to county and they redistribute it. So what that impact looks like is 40% of our budget for Parks and Rec that we would lose. We definitely would have to make cuts, and it's definitely going to change the quality of life where people can, our residents can enjoy their parks, and we will definitely have to look at, and again, I don't have the final on what that would look like, but I'm not allowed to tell anyone as a city councilwoman how to vote on this, but what I encourage everyone to do is to really research it and know their stuff. Because it's something that it's going to sunset, and then it's another 30 years that they're asking for. I don't believe there is a way to change the time frame because it's just a renewal of the 30 years. At this point, I think they would have to come back to the voters and do a whole new initiative in order to change up the details of this vote. But Parks and Rec, I think they do a great job. A shout out to our staff. I love them. And we have a great city because of our parks and trails. So please look into it. Parks matter. We do a lot to help with the parks. As even a city council member, we try to make sure we're taking care of our residents. Thank you.
Tim Ross, Nevada Veterans Association. As the daughter of a veteran and wife of a veteran, you have a personal connection to the military community. Beyond standard ceremonies, what specific city-level programs or zoning incentives could you support to help veterans transition into small business into Henderson?
Well, I think we can do better at the City of Henderson in helping them transition. We do have a location right across from City Hall that's been provided for veterans so that we are bringing more resources down to the City Hall area that they can have help. I am 100% supportive of finding grants that will do that and helping our veterans start businesses. As a business owner myself, I'm happy to mentor, and I have, and help anyone, especially veterans, to be able to open businesses and be successful. I think it does come down to money, and we need to see what we can do to do a better job on bringing more dollars to it. Because you have to have money to be in business, and a startup is really the best way to have that scaffolding underneath you, to have that those extra dollars. The one thing the Henderson Chamber's done is they have the launch pad, and that's on Water Street. And that's another way that veterans can be helped with starting businesses.
Patrick McCray, once again, with the Nevada Veterans Association. Yeah, you mentioned the launch pad. You might explain to me what that launch pad does for the residents of Henderson?
The launch pad allows for someone to come in and start a business, and the rent, it's in the Wells Fargo building on Water Street, and the rent is discounted. And they are able to have the support of the chamber in being able to, like I said, have that support, have that scaffolding. And then after they get going and they're able to go into a bigger location, then they move out and a new business moves in. It's able to give a start, a launch, so to speak, to new business owners. But I think for veterans, I would like to see a specific program from the city that helps veterans, something similar to the launch pad.
It's a tough one here. All right. So as military members, we understand the importance of mission focus and team cohesion. Public records and news reports show that the current council has been hampered by persistent internal drama and interpersonal conflict, where you seem to be at the center. And this has been a major hindrance to the council's ability to focus on addressing the many needs of the residents in the city. Can you please explain why people who understand the need for team cohesion, integrity, and professionalism would still choose to vote for a candidate who seems to be as part of the dysfunction of the council?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. Seems. I am a win-win team player. But the problem lies in when there are agendas that do not help or benefit our residents, our veterans, our seniors, our kids, our families, I will not support it. I work for you. I work for the city. I don't work for the city of Henderson. I work for the residents. I will continue to do that. And so, there's really not a lot of internal drama. Unfortunately, that's been drama that's been put out to the media, and it's been twisted and it's been turned, but there's not drama behind the scenes. It was elected somehow to put it out in front of everyone. And so I'm going to continue to focus and stay focused on serving. I'm a public servant, not a politician, and I'm going to continue to serving our residents. And there's been a lot of lies and a lot of false statements, and people will be shocked at the amount of lies when those start to come out here shortly. So it will be made clear what's going on.
Tim Ross, Nevada Veterans Association. Transparency is the cornerstone of your platform. What specific digital or procedural changes would you implement in your next term to make the city council decisions more accessible to the average person, the average resident?
Well, transparency is very important to me. And the other thing is I'm a real win-win person. I wanted to add that if I didn't say that. I'm all about win-win, and especially for the residents. I believe that they should have more access to the city council, first of all. I know you're talking about digital and other things, but nothing can substitute face-to-face meetings or conversations with your representative that you've elected. And so one of the things is everyone can have my cell phone. It's put on all my literature. It has been in my last 2 races, and I will always be accessible. And that, I think, is much more important. I think our IT does a great job, and we have some great abilities to have residents communicate through Contact Henderson and a case is set up. But but when you can't meet with the person you want to meet with, it doesn't matter how many opportunities you have digitally or online. So again, it comes back to really having that face-to-face conversation and results. It's important to have results. And I am a person who has delivered on results. And it's really about, to your prior question, fact over fiction, right? The fact is that I have delivered results for residents.
Again, Patrick McRae, Nevada Veterans Association. Now, this question may not be exactly fair because you've been a member of the council in Henderson for 4 years. I don't think it's unfair either. What are the legal job responsibilities for a council person in the city of Henderson, and where would I, as a resident, find that information?
Well, that's a great question. The legal responsibilities, are you talking open meeting law, are you talking that, or are you talking about what are our roles as a city council person?
More of the roles.
Okay.
And where does it say?
Yeah, that would be great. And if I would love to know where it says that. No, I will just tell you what I know that the role is for me and what I have been doing for the constituents. I believe that our role as city council members is to take care of residents, to have transparency so that our residents know what is going on, and to get more finite, we deal with roads, transportation, businesses, right? We want to create a great pro-business arena for people to come. I am very pro-business. I am very pro taking care of, like I said, our residents. So we have now gotten into education, where we're making sure that our education opportunities are enhanced. For instance, a preschool learning center has just been, the groundbreaking just took place for my ward, Ward 3. And so and public safety is huge. We have to take care of our public safety as well. And so we take care of the things that affect the residents' daily life. We have more impact on their daily life than any other level of government. Did I answer your question?
You were there.
Okay, well, you can follow up because I'm happy to get, okay.
I'm good. Ask the question. If I'm not clear, then I'll follow up.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so.
There have been a lot of concerns expressed about the 3 Kids Mine remediation project. If you're familiar with those concerns, can you please tell us, what you believe the concerns that have been expressed are, and how would you explain to residents that this deal is better than leaving it like it is?
The 3 Kids Mine is a hot potato, period. That started 19 years pre-me and was well on its way and at the finish line by the time I was elected. There was a lot of misinformation I was given, and residents have been given. But the bottom line is, as I toured that site, and I will tell you, I threw away my shoes after. I mean, because it worried me. That site, you could tell, there were kids out riding their motorcycles, lawn chairs on the most toxic part, the Wheel of Fortune is what they called it, an open mine shaft. You had open pits. This clearly was an area that needed to be cleaned up. And for the residents, I can't say I was thrilled about how that was done, but I can tell you this. I had monthly meetings with NDEPT. I did everything in my power to make sure that residents are educated about it and that we are taking care of residents. They are most important in this situation. we need to make sure that we have things in place that always protect our residents. And I am still trying to get more information before I come out with a solid line on it. But I will tell you that I felt it needed to be cleaned up, and because it was dangerous in its state.
Just a small follow-up. Do you know of a location, whether website or anything, where the residents can go to learn about this on their own?
I do not know of a website. No. But I am still looking into everything and still communicating about that project.
Hey, Tim Ross, Nevada Veterans Association. At North Las Vegas Airport, we have residents there that own hangars, and they have their hangars are coming up for renewal. And there's a similar situation at Henderson. Henderson has their airport, and some of their hangars are coming up for renewal. Those are both managed by the Clark County Department of Aviation under the Clark County Commissioners. But many of those hangar owners are veterans. And we feel like they're using federal funds to upgrade these airports, and they want to move out these lessees, which many are veterans. Would you be an advocate to your county commissioner to help them, try to persuade them to keep these leases if needed?
Absolutely.
Patrick McCray, one more time. Hey, from Nevada Veterans Association, which is fine. I enjoy it. Public safety is one of your strong points there you've mentioned. It's in your flyer here. And first responders are part of that. What can you do or have you done to try and draw in the quality police, fire, emergency responders into the city of Henderson?
Well, I can tell you what I have done. I, a lone councilwoman, along with the support of the chief at the time and a lieutenant, I arranged for, set up, and executed a recruiting trip to Utah with 5 colleges and 2 private academies. That was successful in a big way, and I feel that helped 2 years ago. Now what's happening is we are doing really much better in our recruiting, and we're seeing, I think, really great candidates that are coming through. We just graduated a class with 40 plus officers. In November, we will have 65 officers starting the academy. What I think is important to note on this, however, is we've lost a lot of institutional knowledge. We've had a lot of officers leave, especially over the last year. And we have to have that institutional knowledge in order, when these officers come out of the academy, to go into field training. We have to have that training. So we need to really look at, since we had 14 officers that we brought back on a program, and that has finished, and so they have gone. We've got to look at that again, because even though the critical labor shortage might be coming to an end, we really have to have officers there to teach the new officers. And so I want to look at a program. Also, really quick, I push for a cadet program, and then we now have that, explorers and cadets.
Martin Walker, Nevada Veterans Association. Over the past year, Henderson residents have voiced outrage over 2 distinct transparency issues. As a representative, how do you define the line between confidential city business and a public right to know? And would you commit to a no surprise agenda ordinance where a contract involving federal agencies or major ethics investigations must be publicly posted at least 10 days prior to a vote?
Absolutely. Yes. I commit to any amount of, we need full transparency for our residents. They're the taxpayers. And you should know what your government's doing. You should know what your city government's doing. So absolutely, I would support anything that encourages and makes sure and ensures transparency.
And then just to be clear, are you aware of the two big transparency issues in question at the moment?
With the city of Henderson?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you say that again? Maybe I missed your question.
The two major transparency issues. I've called them transparency issues because people feel that they weren't given a fair opportunity to know about certain votes before things took place. They feel things were happening behind closed doors. One would be the ICE that's cooperation with ICE. Others would be certain, I guess, inquiries or investigations that are happening on some of the current council members, I suppose. And so behind the scenes from the ICE, I know people believe that they were kept in the dark, but there are certain things that have to happen that have to be, say, behind closed doors before we have the open meeting. So I'm talking about going back to dispelling the fact and fiction over that. Let's just say the ICE issue. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I just think it's really important that I understand we have closed door meetings and we need to do that, but we really need to make sure that we are following the open meeting law. Period. We need to make our decisions in front of our residents in open meeting, and we need to have that discussion. And one of the ways we could improve is there needs to be more discussion at the dais. When I've tried in the past, it's been interesting. And but I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue to bring up things that are important, and I'm happy to discuss all of that at the dais.
Do you think 3 days is enough? I mean, I know that's what, and I'm not. It's just kind of like a off the wall question. But do you think 3 days is enough?
No, no, I don't. I think we have to give people time. The other thing I think is we've got to. I would really love to see city council meetings go to 6 p.m. At 4 p.m. on a Tuesday. I mean, people, it's hard. They're working. I want everyone to have the opportunity to come to city council if they would like to, because that's what's hard. They can't come and speak.
Yeah, I have to take off work to come to the meetings.
Yeah.
Tim Ross, Nevada Veterans Association. Henderson is often cited for its safety and quality of life. As an incumbent, how do you plan to address the rising cost of housing whilst maintaining the suburban character of Ward 3 that residents value?
Well, that's a great question as well. You say affordable housing, everybody thinks it's Section 8. So I say attainable and workforce housing now, because we have nurses, we have teachers, we're losing them because they can't afford to live in Henderson. And I've lost 3 of my children that are married with my grandchildren to other states because of that. So in addressing that, one of the things that we're looking at is, quote, affordable housing, making it attainable. And we have been approving projects that are doing that. It is like the Meriden project, and a lot of people still say, well, $300,000 is not attainable. And so we also have to see what more we can do. But that Meriden project is bringing in what's considered affordable housing, which means that we can have home ownership. We need to really work towards home ownership for everyone, housing for all, and make sure that they have options. Townhomes are a great option, owner occupied. So just building more high density housing, I don't think is the solution.
Patrick McRae and Nevada Veterans Association. First off, do you know approximately how many schools are in the city of Henderson, Ward 3 specific? And how often have you visited those schools?
Well, I'm in schools all the time. I think I'm at 23. I'd have to look at all of them because I don't know if I'm including charter in that. But I'm in schools all of the time, and I'm supporting schools. I helped bring healthcare to children that did not have insurance. We do backpack drives. I take in backpacks to several schools, uniforms. We make sure that I've helped with food drives so that kids during the summer don't go without food. I've been involved heavily in schools.
Quick little follow-up question, if you don't mind there, Mr. Moderator. What do you think of the quality of the food that is provided by Clark County to your schools?
Well, that's interesting because a lot of it goes in the garbage. So I think that we'll let that stand as the answer for what children think of it. I would love to see the quality improved. I think, again, that goes back to the district's big. And we need to look at other ways. If you remember when we were children, we had home-cooked food at our schools. And that made all the difference in the world because we want kids really being able to learn and feeding their bodies so that we can feed their minds. So yes, I would love to look at how we can enhance and make better. We can do better for our kids.
You know, I'm gonna go back to the previous question actually about the attainable housing. So corporate equity firms are buying up single family homes throughout the valley, driving up rents and pricing working families out of the market. The city council doesn't have the power to ban a private company from buying property. However, they have several regulatory tools at their disposal that can make corporate land grabbing less profitable and give local families a competitive edge. Some include owner-occupied deed restricted zoning, first look ordinances, and tiered business licensing fees. Which of these options would or could you push for, and why? And if none of them, what is your plan going forward to help families in your ward attain the American dream?
I think we need to look at all and every tool available to us as a city council, and we need to take swift action. I'm seeing this being kicked down the road to some degree in addressing the situation you're talking about specifically. And we need to take action because that is a big part in, as you said, driving up rents, driving up mortgages, driving up the ability for residents to be able to purchase home and have home ownership.
Do you think there's enough appetite amongst all those others who would have a deciding vote in any of those tools to maybe make some of that happen and give some relief to residents?
I'm not positive, nor do I want to talk about what my fellow council members think or don't think or have an appetite for, but what I can do is speak for myself, and I can tell you I am 100%. As you can tell, I have a resident first vision. That vision doesn't change. That's my why. So anything that will benefit residents, it to me is of critical importance, and we need to address it. You know, there's a lot in running a city or helping run a city or being on a, city council. But we have to address housing and we have, but in a more, aggressive way. That's a concern with the properties being bought up by corporations, and it has changed. It has changed the landscape.
Tim Ross, Nevada Veterans Association. Many veterans in Southern Nevada face challenges accessing local services. How would you leverage your seat on the council to improve the coordination between the city and veteran-focused nonprofits to address issues like veteran housing and mental health resources?
Well, my voice is yours. I will be happy to stand next to any veteran organization. Everything we've talked about today could be applied to veterans 100% in impacting them or affecting them in some way. And so I'm willing to stand with you, as I always have, in making sure that we're taking care of veterans. I really feel like they get the short end of the stick a lot. And, it seems like we have to continually remind, that, hey, we have a veteran population that isn't receiving adequate services, and they are not having adequate chances or opportunities to become homeowners or to have quality jobs and to have good income. You served our country. Our veterans made a sacrifice for us. We have to do all we can to help bridge the gap between what is out there and what they need. And I'm willing to do anything I can to help with that.
I just want to make sure we're good on time there. Patrick McCray, Nevada Veterans Association. Title IX is generally considered a federal issue, but if you become successful in having your own school district in Henderson, it will then be a concern of the city council. What is your stance on Title IX?
Title IX is vast. I don't even know where to begin. I will just tell you that.
This is where I'm driving.
No, okay. Thank you. Thank you for honing that in. On boys and girls sports, I just need to let you know out of the gate here, I am not for anything, any law, any ordinance, anything that allows for boys, men to be in girls and women's sports, period. There is no wiggle room for me in that. I have daughters and I have sons. All played sports. I just had a daughter graduate from Grand Canyon University as the keeper on her soccer team, and I have a daughter at a local high school that plays sports. The injuries at a minimum that we see when boys play in girls' sports is hard as a parent to watch that and to have to find support for your child, because when they're injured and they feel so degraded that it becomes a mental health issue after that. So I'm 100% going to stand behind us never allowing men or boys in girls and women's sports.
So I'm going to go back to another something you touched on earlier. So moving the council meetings to a later time in the evening is a popular. It's popular with a lot of people, especially in the spirit of improving transparency. Yet it's been blocked for years by administrative hurdles. Walk us through some specific logistical and budgetary barriers, such as overtime costs, public safety staffing, or collective bargaining agreements with employees that currently prevent the shift, and give us your thoughts on how you could believe we could maybe overcome some of those barriers.
Well, I think they're excuses because we were at 6:00 years ago. So I believe that as a resident, as a taxpayer myself, that if I were in this situation where I could not attend city council, which, by the way, when I was running, it was hard because, to get to city council, you have to leave your job or you have to not pick up your children from school, and you have to have help with that. I just feel strongly that there's not a hurdle that we can't get over, and that we owe it to our constituents. We owe it to the residents to get over whatever hurdle may come. And we have to have city council meetings. We understand, we appreciate our staff, and we never want to, I never want to inconvenience them. But at this point, it's a given. It's on the first and the third Tuesday of every month. And we need to conduct business. But in order to conduct business, we have to have our access. The residents have to have access. They have to be able to come, and they have to be able to have the opportunity to participate if they want to. So I want everyone, right, to have that opportunity.
All right. Well, this concludes the interview portion of today's event. I'd like to give you a minute to do some closing remarks.
Sure. Okay. Thank you for your time. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm just going to let you know that there is a lot in the news, and you touched on that. But I want to let everybody know that The majority of the censure went over to the Ethics Commission and everything was thrown out. So I need everyone to know that any ethics violations, all of that has been dismissed. And that, I think, has been the only question in residents' minds about what's going on, what is the truth, what isn't the truth. This has been a political situation that is hurting residents. And I am your best choice for Henderson still. I serve you. You all are my why. And I'm going to continue to serve you. And you're going to have one voice on the council you can always count on that will always put your agenda first, what you want, how you feel, and I'm there for you. So please reach out, 702-306-3302, and go to check the box for CARRIECOX.com to learn more about me. Call me, I'll meet with you. And I just appreciate the opportunity to serve you and to be your city councilwoman. And we're going to win in June. Thank you for your time.
Right, and thank you. So this is the conclusion of today's event. Once again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Judge Mary Perry, Clark County District Court, Family Division Department P, Christine Brewer, Clark County District Court, Family Division Department S, Judge Chris Cannon, North Las Vegas Municipal Court, Judge Department 1, and Judge Noreen DeMonte, Clark County District Court, Department 28. Thank you again.
Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, live stream on Facebook.